Okay, so this weekend, a bunch of people got banned on Twitch for streaming the CSGO Berlin Major. They were served DMCA takedown notices by the company organizing the major, which is StarLadder. I talked to one of those streamers, Flom, about this whole situation. I also looked at StarLadder's rules and regulations to see what they actually say on this subject, and then we asked the question, where do we go from here? Well guys, it has been a hot minute since we've covered CSGO directly on Don't At Me. Now I'd like to tell you that I'm excited to talk about the biggest competition in my favorite esports scene. But less than a week before I'm scheduled to go cover the major in Berlin, we have some ugly business to deal with. A handful of streamers, including prominent CSGO streamer and personality Flom, were banned from Twitch for broadcasting games from the Berlin major. Now, if you're new to CSGO, a major, capital M, is a twice-a-year competition that represents the pinnacle of that esport. Every major, Valve, which is the company that publishes CSGO, awards the rights to produce, organize, and broadcast the major to a different tournament organizer, and this time it's StarLadder. And it was StarLadder that served Flom with the DMCA takedown notice. DMCA takedown notice obviously refers to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1998. It criminalizes the circumventing of copyright law and is supposed to be a tool for originators of a certain work to stop unauthorized reposting or dissemination of that work. Basically, all you need to know is that if you're a content creator on Twitch, it is a really big deal if you get one of these notices. Now, starting from the beginning of this whole controversy, focusing in on Flom, who often participates in something called the No Majors Club. Now, that is like a talk show podcast restream of the major hosted by Richard Lewis and others. Now, Flom told me the day before he was banned, StarLadder reached out to the No Majors Club and threatened them with action.
Richard comes back, he's like, okay, we came to an agreement, it's all gonna be fine. They're gonna add their sponsors into the GoTV overlay, which that's fine. Like, that makes perfect sense. You're putting your sponsors into the GoTV relay. We're promoting them. That's a win-win for everybody. That's not really a big issue. Then the next day, I got a direct message from Richard saying that my channel had been banned. And this was like about 24 hours had passed, I'd say, from when they like contacted Richard versus when I got DMCA'd. And I didn't know why I was banned. I actually didn't have a formal email even from Twitch yet of what had happened. I'm fortunate enough that I had very good friends there that I just reached out to personally going, hey, what's going on? And I think this is actually on Twitch's end. Originally, I was upset with StarLadder, but they actually hadn't even seen the reasoning get processed through their system yet. So they actually didn't know what exactly I was DMCA'd for. They just knew StarLadder had issued it and that they had to take down my channel.
Now, as Flom mentioned, his stream was using GoTV, which is an in-client spectator application that allows you to watch games from POVs on a given server.
It wasn't like anybody is watching the stream that StarLadder is providing. We're not using their casters. We're not using any of their assets. We're actually watching a relay of a spectator client that is built into the game of Counter-Strike. So StarLadder does not own the game of Counter-Strike. They get permission from Valve to stream the major.
Now, this is Flom's first ever ban on Twitch. He went public with the info, which is how most of us heard about it, and he was able to get in touch with the guy who's in charge of media rights at StarLadder. What StarLadder told him is that essentially they own the broadcast, even on GoTV.
They weren't rude or unprofessional. It was just, this is the way we've always done it. This is nothing new. People have always restreamed the major. And they're telling me now that they have exclusive rights to it and that I actually should have reached out to them to be able to stream the major, which that's never been done before ever. The majors have always been, to my understanding and to I think the whole community's understanding, something that we all get to watch together. We can turn on our streams as long as we're not promoting our own stuff. We can just watch it with everybody and there's no issue.
Now, regarding the rights to the broadcast, StarLadder's own rules and regulations do state, quote, all broadcasting rights of StarLadder Major 2019 are owned by the StarLadder Limited. This includes, but is not limited to, video streams, example POV streams, radio streams, GoTV, replays, demos, or TV broadcasts, end quote. Flom was told nonetheless that his ban would be lifted, and the next day, StarLadder put out a statement saying that all of those DMCA takedown notices would be rescinded. I say all because obviously Flom wasn't the only streamer who was banned from Twitch because because of this. Tons of other smaller channels were also given the same treatment that Flom was. He even told me that StarLadder DMCA'd their own official Hungarian broadcast channel, which presumably was a mistake. Now, StarLadder's tweet about rescinding the DMCA takedown notices was accompanied by a statement, which read, quote, "The tournament license for the CSGO Major grants StarLadder rights to broadcast video content of the tournament. We use those rights to find sponsorships and media contracts that make the event possible." It also notes, quote, "For the English language community broadcast, we will be happy to work with community streamers if they would share sponsorship obligations with us. For more information, please contact us," end quote. Now, given the language in that statement and in StarLadder's official rules and regulations, it seems entirely possible that they could be well within their rights to purge unauthorized broadcasts of the major, even via GoTV. Now, that seems fine, especially if they contact the channel before trying to take them down and explain that they need to, as StarLadder puts it, share sponsorship obligations with us. However, Flom says that they told him that he needed to contact them beforehand, which seems pretty unreasonable given that every single major up until this point has operated under a system where none of this is necessary. At this point, it's all just getting a little too murky.
Yeah, so that's why it gets really confusing. Is the first time we'd ever seen that wording is with ESL, but they did not choose to act on that wording and those rights. Now, this is the first time that it's been acted on, and the thing is if this is going to change, this isn't something that you just add to a rule book somewhere and that somebody has to go deep into a website to go find your rule book and rules and stipulations. This is something that you should be publicly stating from both sides. StarLadder should have mentioned, hey, this is our rule set. If you want to stream it, here's our terms and conditions, and here's how you stream the major if you would like to be allowed to. And then from the other side, Valve, if they're selling exclusive rights to people, they need to come out and tell everybody that they're doing that, so that way I don't get DMCA'd. This should be something that should be properly conveyed and communicated at all times. There should be no disillusion to if we're allowed to stream or not. It should be very plain text what we should and shouldn't be allowed to stream for the major.
The good news, Flom's channel is indeed back, and his DMCA takedown strike is going to be apparently removed from his Twitch channel. The bad news is he won't be streaming any more of the Berlin Major until we get a more concrete ruling on this very confusing issue.
I can't risk another DMCA. I am in contact with StarLadder and working on an agreement. They did release a statement today that was, quite frankly, very vague and not definitive whatsoever. That probably adds more questions than settling them. But regardless, I've been talking with them and trying to come to some sort of agreement. It's kind of at a stalemate. So it either I get permission from StarLadder or Valve comes out and says something. Otherwise, I will get DMCA'd if I try to stream the major.
There's also a potential downside for StarLadder in the form of bad press. No one in the community really appreciated what happened to Flom and others, and plenty of prominent voices took to Twitter to voice their displeasure at the entire situation. Now, a really interesting and possibly relevant comparison here is Dota TV. It's an in-game spectator client, exactly like GoTV, but obviously for Dota. And in this case, Valve has come out with a very clear ruling on how streams using Dota TV are to be conducted. In a blog post last year, Valve stated the following, quote, "The first issue we've been seeing discussed is regarding DMCA notices. This one is very simple. No one besides Valve is allowed to send DMCA notices for games streamed off of Dota TV that aren't using the broadcaster's unique content, camera movements, voice, etc. The second issue is regarding who is permitted to cast off of Dota TV. We've designed the Dota TV guidelines to be flexible in order to allow for up-and-coming casters or community figures like BSJ or Bulldog that occasionally watch tournament games on their channel to be able to stream off of Dota TV. It is not to allow commercial organizations like BTS to compete with the primary stream. It'll be our judgment alone on who violates this guideline and not any other third parties," end quote. So as you can see with Dota TV, it's Valve coming out and calling the shots. But with GoTV, at least with this most recent major, it seems like StarLadder so far is in the driver's seat. Now, we have reached out to StarLadder for specific comment beyond their statement on this. As of this recording, they have not been able to get back to me. If and when they do, I will update you guys on their perspective further. But all this is to say is that at this point, what we really need is a ruling from Valve on Go TV, just like they gave Dota TV. But until that ruling is made public one way or the other, streamers like Flom are in a gray area that they just can't cross. Now, to play devil's advocate here for a second, do streams like Flom's or the No Majors Club take away valuable eyeballs from the main StarLadder stream? Could they potentially affect the TO's bottom line when it comes to hosting this major? Well, Flom doesn't think so.
If StarLadder wants to work side by side with people, I don't think there's any downside to them as long as they have their logos there, we discuss it. I've actually worked with Blast, another tournament organizer who has brought me to events previously, and I get to stream there. And I just provide them with my numbers and they get to show that to sponsors because we are providing extra eyeballs to their sponsors and we're adding additional value to their product. So I see no downside for them. The only downside is just by not communicating with us and then DMCAing or taking down or being really difficult to work with.
And so here we are. I ended my interview with Flom by asking him, at this point, what is the ideal resolution for streamers like him?
I mean, 10 out of 10 would be Valve coming out and basically stating one way or the other. Honestly, in a perfect world, I'd be thrilled to have them be like, hey, watch it for everybody. Just like Dota, you get to turn it on with your stream and watch with your stream. I would also, in a perfect world though, love to see tournament organizers like StarLadder reach out to people like me or Richard, whoever, to do more things together because I'm not going away from Counter-Strike. I'm somebody that enjoys Counter-Strike. It's the game that I love. It's the game that I want to stream. It's the game that I want to play. And I don't want to not be able to do things with certain tournament organizers because of bad blood or burnt bridges. I want to be able to work with everybody, do cool stuff with them, and promote the game that I love, that I've spent my entire life playing, and build it that way. That's what I want. I just want a clear ruling, and I just want an actual open dialogue that continues moving forward. It seems kind of easy and cliche to say, but I think that's really just the best way to go about it.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.